Hi, this is Kenneth Wong, a Burmese American writer and the author of Easy Burmese from Tuttle Publishing to be released in September. This is part of my intermediate Burmese series where I plan to use various songs, classic and modern poems, and short story excerpts to explain Burmese expressions and structures that are a step up from the basics. Glad to have you with us. Let's start with a short poem today. This is from an anthology called Hnan Gaung Myar, Grasshoppers from the Errors Publishing, or Myar to say it in Burmese. On page 57 is this short poem called Dagoo Nayt Zwae. Dagoo is one of the months in the Burmese lunar calendar. Burmese months don't line up perfectly with the Western calendar months, so Dagoo, the very first month in Burmese calendar, is actually around March or April. You might notice Burmese New Year, the Thinjung Water Festival, is around April. So right after Thinjung, the very first month in the Burmese calendar is Dagoo. Dagoo Nayt Zwae means a day in the month of Dagoo. Now let's see what type of day this is. Let me read it without dissecting it first. Badauk Pwenda Naukjade. The Badauk flower's bloom was late. Varenza Yaukta Naukjade. The newspaper's arrival was late. Berenshe Ngakale Te Sura Naukjade. In front of the window, the little bird singing was late. Chanole Lepe Zainthwara Naukjade. And I too was late going to the tea shop. This poem involves quite a number of gerunds, actions described as nouns, followed by the verb naukjade, to be late. Take a look at the first line, for example. Badauk is the type of flower that blooms around Burmese New Year, like these flowers the young lady is wearing. Badaukte or Badaukdwe is the plural form of Badauk flowers. Pwe is the verb to bloom or to blossom. So what is this particle da? Well, that is the gerund making particle. If you simply say Badaukte Pwende, that means the Badauks bloom. By changing the last particle from de, the sentence end particle, to da, sometimes also pronounced da, turn it into a gerund. So this whole phrase is the Badauks blooming. That is why it can be followed by the phrase naukjade, to be late. Taken together means the Badauks blooming, or more naturally, the Badauks bloom is late. Now let's look at the next line. Varenza is newspaper. Yauk is the verb to arrive. If you simply say Varenza yaukte, that means the newspaper arrives. But just like the first line, this too ends with da, the gerund maker particle. So Varenza yaukta, however, is the newspaper arriving. This is followed by naukjade. So this action, this event, the newspaper arriving, was late. The next line opens with Berenshe. This is a slightly shortened version of Badim Baushe, in front of the window. Ngakale is little bird. Deso is to sing, literally to sing a song. This may strike you as strange, but in Burmese to say sing, you actually need to say sing a song because the verb so could be used for other type of recital, singing, or speaking related activities. So if you say ngakale te sore, it means the little bird sings, but this ends with da. So this is the gerund form of that action. That means the little bird singing in front of the window was late. Let's look at the last part. Chanole, me too, or I as well. Lapeye zaing thwara naukjade. Lapeye zaing is tea shop. Thwa is to go. This end with da, like the preceding line, so that means not I go to the tea shop, but rather me going to the tea shop. This too was naukjade, late. Why am I showing you pictures of men going to the tea shop and not of women? Can a woman go to a tea shop as well? Quite right, except here the poem says janole. This polite pronoun jano is male specific, so it tells you that the speaker in the poem, the I in the poem, is a man. Well, now that you have a good understanding of what the line says, let me read the poem again, from top to bottom, without English translation. Dagoo Nayt Zwae. Badaukte Pwenda Naukjade. Varenza Yaukta Naukjade. Berenshe Ngakale Te Sura Naukjade. Chanole Lape Zainthwara နောက်ကြတယ် With that newfound understanding of how gerund forms work, let's see if you can figure out how to say the train's arrival was late. Train is yata. To arrive is yao. Just like the poem, you need the gerund form for this activity. So don't say yata yaute. That would simply means the train arrives, but say yata yauta. That means the train arriving or the train's arrival. Now you can follow it up with naukjade. Yata yaukta naukjade. That means the train arriving or the train's arrival was late. What if you want to say the train's departure or the train departing was early? To depart is twet. So if you say yata twette, that means the train departs. But instead, if you say yata twetta, that means the train's departure or the train departing. Now you can say yata twetta sore. Sore is the opposite of naukjade, to be early. One more time, yata twetta sore. That means the train's departing or the train's departure was early. Up to now, we have been talking about events that have happened, but what if you want to say something about something that hasn't happened yet? The future tense. You probably know how to say he or she will come tomorrow. That's basic stuff. Tomorrow is manepien. As a pronoun, he or she is tu. The verb to come is la. Since it's future tense, you should end the sentence with me. So, manepien tu la me is tomorrow he or she will come. But you might not realize that changing the last word me into ma, not da, but ma, turn it into a future tense gerund. So, manepien tu la ma means the fact that tomorrow he or she will come, or him or her coming tomorrow. Now you can follow it up with, for example, mathibu. That is the negative form of the verb tide, to know. So if you say manepian tulama mathibu, that means I didn't know about him or her arriving tomorrow. I didn't know that he or she will be coming tomorrow. How about saying something like visiting pagodas in Bagan is enjoyable, delightful? It's easier than you think. You start with Bagan ma to say in Bagan or at Bagan. To visit pagodas is payapude. Payapude. The verb pu needs some explanation. It is formal and specific to visiting sacred sites. So you should not say, for example, piadai pude to say you visited a museum, nor should you say jim pude to say you visited a friend. The museum is not sacred, neither is your friend. Unless, of course, your friend happens to be a monk or a nun. Well, then in that case, you can't really refer to him or her as Jin. That's another lesson for another episode on the topic of formal ways to address monks and nuns. Anyway, back to the main topic at hand, gerund form of visiting pagodas in Bagan. If you simply say Bagama Payapude, Bagama Payapude, that means I visited pagodas in Bagan. But if you say instead Bagama Payapuda, Bagama Payapuda, that means the gerund form, visiting pagodas in Bagan or going on a pilgrimage in Bagan. Enjoyable is Pyozia Gaunde. Pyozia Gaunde. So join them together. You can say Bagama Payapuda, Pyozia Gaunde. Bagama Payapuda, Pyozia Gaunde. That means visiting pagodas in Bagan is delightful, enjoyable. Well, that is essentially the end of this lesson. Try to experiment with the gerund form. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, please feel free to leave some comments with what you came up with and what you meant to say. I'd be glad to give you some feedback. If you are attending UC Berkeley and would like to study Burmese formally, I'll be teaching beginning Burmese again this fall, so hope to see you in the class. If you are attending UCLA, now you have the option to take my class as distance learning. That means you join my Berkeley class via video conferencing, so I hope to see you there too, virtually. If you'd like to buy the anthology featuring the poem you just studied in this lesson, ask for it at your local Burmese bookstore or visit the publisher and distributor at this address here. That's all for this lesson. Thank you very much for watching. Namadweme. See you later. I'm Kenneth Wong.